Everyone, welcome to the Jarvis Boards studio. Excited to have you guys here today. Today in our board building series, I'm going to share with you how to install the fin box in your wood board, as well as how you can install other plastic inserts, which will allow you to add things like bungees, cooler mounts, GoPro accessories, and a whole host of different items. Plus, if you stick around to the end of this video, I'm going to share with you one of the worst mistakes I made in my board building journey, as well as how you can avoid it. So although your board's made out of wood, there are a number of plastic inserts that you'll likely want to install in the board. This includes items such as a fin box, which will allow you to add a removable fin, a leash loop, which will allow you to tether yourself to the board, which is a great safety feature for when you're out in the water, as well as a vent and a whole host of accessories. Now, whether you're building a wood paddleboard or wood surfboard, at a minimum you'll want to add a fin box, a leash loop, and a Gore-Tex vent. If you're building a paddleboard, you'll likely want to add a handle as well as probably a bungee setup so you can add other accessories to the board. In addition, you'll use this same process to add anchoring points if you want to add items such as rod and reel holders, cooler mounts, GoPro accessories later on in your build process. Now, if you're in need of fin boxes or any of the plastic accessories that we show you in this video, they're all available at jarvisboards.com, as well as if you follow the comment section below, you'll see a link where we have a direct link to these. Now, with these accessories, adding them to the board really begins fairly early in the board building journey. It really begins once the frame's been completed and you've added skins to one side of the board. You'll want to add some internal blocking or internal material so that you have a cavity that you can route out later on in the build process. Personally, I like to use EPS foam, which bonds very well to the frame of the board as well as the wood skins using a polyurethane glue. If you don't want to use foam in your board at all, you certainly can use a lightweight wood such as cedar or paulownia or balsa as well. Now, to actually add the inserts into the board, you'll fast forward in the board building journey to the point where you have the skins added to both sides of the board and you've done the majority of the shaping of the board itself. At this point, you'll want to measure where that internal blocking is that you added earlier in the build process, locate that, and mark carefully where you want to add your insert into the board. Once you've marked that carefully, you'll get your router and you'll want to route out a cavity so that you can actually recess that plastic anchor point or fin box into the wood board itself. Once you've done a couple test fits and you're confirmed that you have the cavity set exactly where you want it, it's time to permanently bond that plastic insert into the board. To do this, I like to use epoxy that's been thickened with something like either silica or sawdust. You'll want to mix it up to the consistency of a thick peanut butter, which is going to work great to permanently bond that plastic insert into the board. And if you don't have silica, we recommend using sawdust that you have accumulated when you sand it down your board. And that has the added advantage of having a similar color to the board itself, which helps it really blend in and looks great on the completed board. Now, to bond it in, you'll simply mix some of that thickened epoxy into the cavity. Once that's done, you'll firmly press that insert into the board and smooth out any squeeze out so that you have a nice smooth area that can be sanded down later prior to glassing. Now, that's pretty much it when it comes to adding these plastic inserts. It's fairly straightforward, but it really opens up a host of accessories that you can add to your board. Some of our favorites: cooler mounts so that you can have onboard drinks later out in the water if you're building a paddleboard, rod and reel holders if you're out fishing. Bungees also work great so that you can store on deck dry bags or cell phone cases, you name it, as well as other things like GoPro mounts also can be added this way as well. Now, I told you early on in the board building process I was going to share with you one of the worst mistakes I made in my board building career. And it really happened early on in my board building journey when I was building these wood boards as a hobby out of my garage. I just finished glassing a board. The epoxy had set up 90% of the way, and I set it outside to clean up the shop. And while I did that, in the hot Texas sun, the air inside of the board swelled up to the point of actually peeling the fiberglass off the wood as well as cracking some of the wood away from the frame itself. Why did this happen? It's because these boards are hollow inside that air that's trapped inside wants to expand when it's hotter and will contract when it's cooler. Now, to prevent this from damaging your board, you'll want to always add a vent to the board so you can let air escape out of it. The vents that we sell at jarvisboards.com have a Gore-Tex membrane, so they're maintenance free. You don't have to screw them up or unscrew them. They simply let air escape but won't let water in, kind of like a waterproof rain jacket. It's just a great insurance policy. Whether you're building our boards using our kits or a competitor's kits, you'll always want to make sure you add that vent into the board itself. That's just going to save you a lot of problems down the line. I hope you found this video helpful. If you have any questions at all, reach out at jarvisboards.com or in the comment section below. If you haven't already, subscribe to our YouTube channel, give us a thumbs up, and until next time, we'll see you on the water.